Hi crafty friends, this is April with Penny Lane Crafts and Designs. And I'm going to paint this cutting board in the color Plaster by Waverly. And I got this cutting board at Walmart. So I'm going to give it a good coat, front, sides. I didn't do the back. You can, so for time purposes, I did not. And then I'm going to take my painter's tape and divide it off. It doesn't have to be down the middle, just so you have two separate sides. And I'm going to take my bar wax there and go over that, and then take this Bunker Hill Blue by Dixie Belle. And I'm just going to give that top portion there a good coat, 2 coats. And then give it a good dry. And then I'm going to take my paint scraper and scrape off the paint where it didn't adhere with that wax. So I love that chippy look. So cute. And then I'm going to take my painter's tape and tape off for some stripes. So this is a Patriotic cutting board project. I'm just going to use that little piece there for a spacer. And make sure I got that straight there so I wasn't painting over that blue. And then I'm going to take that bar wax and go over those white stripes that are there. And I'm using this Barn Red by Dixie Belle, and that was a new jar, and I'm not sure what was on top of it, and quite honestly it did not smell the best. So I don't know what was up with that. So I'm going to give those 2 good coats as well. And then I'm just going to take off all that painter's tape and then scrape that as well. And then I'm going to go back, and I want to end with a red stripe. So just a small area down there, I am going to paint that. And then I painted where the red stripes were. I continued that down the sides and the bottom. And I'm going to give that a good dry. And I forgot to do the wax, so I put a little bit of wax on, and actually it melted because it was warm from my heat tool. So I'm going to take that painter's tape off, and then I'm going to give that a good scrape to get that chippy look as well. And now I'm going to take my little gator sander, and I'm going to sand over the whole project. I did scrape with my paint tool over the white. I didn't have any wax on there, but it did distress it some. And that's what it looks like so far. And now I'm going to take my stars stencil, and I ordered a pack of these on Amazon. And I'm just going to stencil some stars at the top on the blue. And I just taped off that blue area so I wouldn't go beyond. Really just didn't want to get on the red. And then this is a stencil brush that I got from Essential Stencil. And I'm just dipping it in my paint and then offloading it on that puppy pad. So cute. I love just the distressed look of this. And then I'm going to take that and just put some stars up there on the blue part on the handle. And again, just dipping my paint in and offloading. Give that a good dry. Now this craft was Pinterest inspired. And now I'm just taking my gator sander and smoothing that. And I got this beautiful napkin from TJ Maxx. And I just love it with the bows and the poppies and the hydrangeas. So pretty. And I was kind of hoping that it would extend and I could just do it all the way up, but it didn't. So I'm trying to see where I will match it, what would be the easiest. So taking my Mod Podge, matte Mod Podge, and I'm going to give that a good coat. And then I'm going to dry this Mod Podge and then do the iron-on method. Just makes the napkin easier to move around. Give it a good dry. And then I put Mod Podge on my fingers to help take the plies apart. And this was a 3-ply napkin. Just iron that on to reactivate that Mod Podge. Just love this napkin. And then taking my gator sander and sanding off the excess. Isn't it so pretty? I love it. And now I tried to match this up the best I could. Should have just left it. And that came off, both plies came off with just one swipe, so that was easy. But that napkin had a little bit of white at the bottom, so I did try to cut it off. And you can see down there is a little space. But it blends in enough, and I distress it, so you can't really tell. You wouldn't be able to tell if I didn't point it out. And then I saw when I lifted it up, I did have some painter's tape. And I just took a marker that was big enough to go down in that hole and punch that through. And there's that painter's tape back there. So I do get it after I watch this video. I love all those colors together. Now I'm going to take this Tim Holtz Distressed Oxide in the color Espresso, Ground Espresso, and I'm just going to go around all the edges to distress it some. And I do try to go over that one space there, right there, to try to blend it. So it makes it better. And then the sides. And then I did have to use my little blending brush to get the sides up there where that crook is. Couldn't get my ink in there. And now I'm just going to make a bow using some material that I had, blue stars. And I found that material actually at a thrift store, and it was $2. So pretty big piece of material. So if you are a thrifter like me, make sure you see if your thrift stores have those kind of areas, because you can get some good deals. And I decided to take that out. I have this white lace that I just wanted to add. And I thought it was so cute. So kind of moved the board over to make sure it matched well enough. And then I just added a couple tails. And I end up cutting off that last piece that I added there. I just did not like it. So I'm just gonna fluff and fuss here, pull out my bow. Make sure the loops are pretty even. Cut off the tails. I'm sorry that's off camera. And then I'm just going to glue this right up there at the top. Give it some hot glue. And I'm doing that off camera as well. And material bows can sure make a mess. And I just didn't like that grungy looking material there in the front. And I guess maybe it was too wide. So I found that Patriotic pick at Hobby Lobby. I believe it was Hobby Lobby. I've had it for a little while. And so then I just cut it off. And I tried that navy blue star bigger, and I liked it okay. And then I just settled on this smaller heart in this white color. And then I just pulled out some greenery to pull in the greenery in the napkin. And it was off a pick that I got at Dollar Tree. So I didn't show that. So trimming that up there. It's like they always look like they're even until you get it glued on, and then you have all these long pieces. So I just pulled off some little stems from this pick and then glued them in. I put them in first to see if I liked them. And I did not add a tag. I thought it was just busy the way it is, and I thought the tag would take away. Busy in a pretty kind of way, I think. I just love that napkin. So, so cute. I just realized that I have a clock in my living room, a little vintage clock that ticks. So I hope you can't hear it. And there it is. So cute. Love it. So if you like this project, please like, share, and follow Penny Lane Crafts and Designs. Thanks.